Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I want to talk about, is it really necessary? Do we really need to expect ourselves to make the most out of every moment? Especially when it comes to things like death, like we talk about here, and life and its relationship to life. Do we then need to make the most of every single moment of every day? So let's talk about that. My name is Abigail. I'm here to normalize these conversations and education about death and dying so we die better at end of life. Let's get into it today. One of the very cliche things that I always heard in hospice and palliative care was making the most of every moment, because we were dealing with things like death and life, that how we lived it and what happened to life until we got there. And while I think the idea of making the most of every moment is really nice, and it's a really nice thought to have and really nice thing to entertain, I just don't know how realistic it is. First of all, I think it puts a ton of pressure on the person who's trying to make the most of every moment. And, I think if you were to try to do that every single moment of every day, I think it may be a little exhausting and it may be a little unrealistic, because if you were to make the most of every single moment, I'm not really sure what it would look like for you. Some people, it may be just as simple as being really present. And if you can do that, that is wonderful. That is so good. Your days, I think it was Mark Divine, who is a retired Navy SEAL, on one of his podcasts that I was listening to years ago, where he said, if you basically are meditating the whole day, I think in a way he meant to be like really present, he said the days can seem so long. And that is really, really wonderful. And that is beautiful. And it does require a lot of discipline. And what I want to propose, if you don't know me by now, when I talk about things like positivity and making most of every moment, I really like to be realistic and practical. I really, really like practicality, while also incorporating and integrating value and getting the most out of life when we can get it, especially when it comes in relationship to death. So I really, ideally, yes, of course, I'd like to make the most of every moment. There's some moments, though, that you just need to get through. And you may just need to get through them just to either move on to something else that is going to be more fulfilling to you. And these can be moments as short as minutes, seconds to hours, or just getting through the day. My hope would be that maybe once a day or several times a week, we can really be present in whatever we're doing for a certain amount of time. And I'm not going to be really prescriptive on that. Hopefully it's more than just a couple seconds. Hopefully it's more than maybe just a few minutes at some point or certain circumstances. But I would like to think that maybe we can have several times a week, for example, where we experience being in the moment as much as possible. Even if that moment isn't the most ideal moment. Because I think the other thing is they want to feel a sense of profound something, and that is really, really nice. It's really, really nice to think that. But sometimes I just wonder if we really have to put so much pressure on our moments. What if we just, and I'm proposing this, is just plan to be present and be what we can be just in that moment. Maybe we can't give too much in that moment. Maybe we don't really feel like forcing ourselves to try to, make it so profound and meaningful. Even though this is something I talk about, but that's in a different context. I talk about meaning in a different context in relationship to coping, especially with, things like serious disease. That's another video. But I just want to, in the context of death and dying and life and death, take the pressure off of us to try to make the most of every moment. Because if you're making the most of every moment, what does that look like? For some people, they may think, oh, well, I got to make the most of every moment, so I'm just going to go spend all my money and go crazy and da-da-da-da-da. And there's, are you being irresponsible then? Are you, allowing yourself enough resources to have more moments that you maybe want to have in the future? It goes into all of those. So I think it's varying degrees for different people. But all I want to propose is that maybe you have, like I said, start maybe a few times a week, which is very brief periods of time where you decide to just be with yourself, be in the moment. And I think the easiest thing, frankly, is the second you want to hop on social media, even just take 10 seconds or just take a flippin' minute. And and be in a moment. So whether it's in bed first thing in the morning or you're standing in line at the grocery store, whatever it is, can you just be in that moment? Sure, you can think of things that you're grateful for. You can think of the fact that, wow, I'm able to stand on my own 2 feet and they're moving me and working today, because you know what? There are people out there who can't even stand, who don't even have both of their legs, things like that. So you can do that, or you can just be in your body and just sink in to your body. Take your mind, your meditation, your focus, sink into your heart, sink into your belly, and just feel what it's like to be in your body. Since we're always kind of just up here all the time, living like this every single day. So this is just a suggestion and permission first to take the pressure off of yourself, and then just a couple of those suggestions, try them on for size. Let me know if you have any other thoughts or ideas, and we can of course expand more later, but wanted to put that out there today. Thank you so much for joining in. My name is Abigail, here to normalize these conversations in education about death and dying so we die better at end of life. I will talk to you soon.